Hey, it's About Town Deb with Yvonne Murphy, my Sassy Soul Sister. It's been too long.
It's been too long. Hey.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about all sorts of things. Our visionary goals, setting intentions, and just being specific about creating the life you deserve.
Ooh, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In Nevada near the silver mines, there's a kind-hearted woman. She's looking so fine, always taking care of her community. Bringing folks together is her cup of tea. She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
And welcome. Another episode. And it is actually, we're recording, I think, on the 31st of January.
Yes,
but tomorrow, or when you guys are listening, it's February 1st. What
Hard to believe. Hard to believe. Countdown to Valentine.
Yeah, she has a new Valentine.
Yes, I do have a Valentine.
She's of course, I don't want to
all about
down.
Cupid and love.
She's all about that, which we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, let's thank our sponsors because Crystal Basin Cellars, we're in transition with a new distributor, Tavern Craft. So we're still getting the paperwork done. So that's a really big deal.
Okay.
Because then I have somebody who actually, it's a local distributor, a local brand, giving back to local charity.
Nice.
Crystal Basin's over the hill, and then Surratt Law Practice, of course.
Always.
And I'm thinking we need to have Kim on or somebody from her team. And I'm going off the road a minute here with my tea. Because the age we get, it seems like lately you just lost a family member. I just lost a close family member on Sunday. And I thought, wait a minute, do I have all my stuff in order?
Yes.
I don't even know if our friend had a will.
And it's not even an issue of age. Look at Lisa Marie Presley. It's not even an issue of age, but we all need to have our affairs in our
But it made me think, I don't know what my boys would do. I don't want them, number one, I got to start cleaning my room better because I don't want them to come in mom's room and go, dang, she's a pig.
Now, we know Kim specializes in adoption.
But she does family law.
But she also does family law and
she
trust.
Does.
Yeah.
So I really think that thank you, Kim. This is the time of year we think about it, the holidays and in January. So Kim Surratt, Family Law Practice. And of course, Angel Fenix Production. We are here in Sparks, Nevada at the Musicians Rehearsal Center. So I'm going to do the quote. I'm going to hand the mic over to you in a sense, because she's going to talk about love. So here we go. This is a quote. I'm pretty sure this is the one I put on my Facebook today. You will never be able to escape your heart. So it's better to listen to what it has to say. Paulo Calho, I don't know.
So maybe that's like our
intuition, but your heart. So I don't know, this last week I was at a tourism summit. And I think it was where they were talking about it, where there's three, your head, your heart, there's your head, your heart, and your mind.
Right.
And no matter what decision you make, whether it's traveling, family, friends, what do you lead by as a leader? I lead by my heart.
So you made me think about a quote that says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So your heart is important. It's your core and
values, maybe?
Your core, your values, and your heart speaks truth to you. Your mind has to listen, but your heart usually reacts to whatever's going on in your life. So
then gut. No, it was the gut.
Definitely.
Heart, mind, and gut.
Yeah.
Because if you do not listen to your gut, and I've had many times I have not, and my gut always is hurting. So I got lots of issues.
Well, that's another show, and we'll address those issues.
So you have some exciting news. Can we share with our listeners?
Let me just get this out in the open. So on January 7th, I had the distinct pleasure of marrying an absolutely wonderful man from New Zealand. And he's just wonderful. It's just a gift from God, and it's a beautiful thing. But tomorrow will be February. And in America, we tend to focus on Valentine's Day as a one-day situation. But the truth of the matter is there are different types of love. There's 5 of them. And
sure.
One of them is spiritual. I can't remember all of them, but agape is our universal Christian humanitarian type love. But there's eros and various other loves, and I can't remember all 5 of them.
There's eros? What do you mean eros? Like the Cupid arrow?
So I think it comes from the word erotica. And that's your personal love with your companion, whoever your companion is. But I think love is important. And at the end of the day, my grandmother used to tell us that everything is based on love or fear. Everything we do is based on love or fear. So poverty, war, crime, that's all fear-based. And then love is the thing that heals and unites. And so I think it's important that we listen to our heart. And I think it's important that we focus on love all the time, not just on Valentine's.
You know, your grandma was very wise. My Papa Tony was very wise. And I would come home after, because I was his caregiver for 10 years. I would come home and he'd go like, sit down, darling, just sit down. You're just go, go, go. And I sat down and I was frustrated, like, I don't remember what it was like. I just felt like I wasn't good enough, right? And he goes, did you do your best? Yes. And he goes, did you do it with love? I'm like, yes. He goes, that's all you got to do is love.
So I had a situation where I ran into a dear friend that I hadn't seen for a while. And when we saw each other, you could just feel the love between us. That's what united us. It was like a movie where in slow motion we were walking towards each other. And when she hugged me, all I felt was love. And so even sometimes if maybe you're disconnected for a little while, I think when you really have humanity type love in your heart or love for a friend or a family member, it just reigns supreme and it washes out all that other icky stuff. And it was as if we were never apart. And I loved her when we were super, 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 super tight before. I loved her when we were apart and I love her more now. So I think it was a good lesson to me about friendship. The people who come in your life who really love you, they really love you. And they're always there, always and forever.
Oh,
I think so.
I love that we keep it real here, guys, because none of this is all unscripted. We have our points we want to talk about, but when it comes down to why we're here, it's for you. So you're out there listening. We want you to know that we know there's going to be ups and downs. We know there's going to be times where your gut's going to take over, your mind's going to take over. But at the end of the day, lead with love. Begin the day, lead with love. And if we could all do that just a little bit, remember, together we're one heart, as I say, life will be better.
I think so. I try to every morning send out, I'm very cognizant of sending out 3, 4, or 5 texts. And you often get them.
I know.
And it's all about just telling people, hey, good morning, I love you. So whatever's going to happen in the course of your day, I love you. So I think it's important that we do that. And I think it just heals us and it makes us feel better. And it's just a good thing to do. And it's the right thing to do.
Well, with that, we're going to take our first break and we will be right back. We'll be right back. Yvonne and Deb.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
She's out on the road and all over the web with a big smiling heart. It's About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
Ooh, welcome back.
Welcome back. Can you believe it's January 31st?
No.
Or for our listeners, February 1st.
I don't want it. It's like, I already feel like my February is already getting booked. I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go see family for a service and this and that. It seems like there's always something to do and something to somewhere to get.
Yes.
But I really loved your topics. But before we have our topic from you, I'm going to give another quote because I really feel like we really do need to take this time. The only one who gets to decide your worth is you. Nikki Banas, but B-A-N-A-S, Nikki. And I think that I struggle with this.
I think we all do.
I think we all do. So if you're struggling, man, I'm telling you guys, you're not the only one. So can you say a little bit about that before you go into
So I just want to say one thing too that I was thinking about. You know, we're talking about the fact that I got married after being a widow for 7 years. And I remember people said to me, you know, Yvonne, chances of you finding love at this certain age, you're more likely to be struck by a bolt of lightning.
That was
and all
not
those.
nice.
Yeah, all
What
those.
the
But
heck?
statistically, and what I realize is when people speak that into the universe, they make it so. So I remember rebuking it and saying, that's not my reality. When I'm ready to have love, I'm going to have love. And that's just who I am. So I think it goes back to what you were talking about, our intention. I think you have to live your life from a place of intention. If you want to be healthy, you're going to be healthy. If you want to be fit, you're going to be fit. If you want to find a new career change, then if you can't find what you want, then create what you want. But I think at the end of the day, you get to be the master of your own universe. And you just have to feel good about it. You have to declare good things for yourself. No one's going to give you permission to be happy. No one's going to give you permission to do what you really want to do. If you want to sing, sing. If you want to write, write. If you want to produce, produce. Whatever it is you want to do, if you really want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. I just think your intentions are important.
So let's talk about intentions.
So that's how I ended up getting married, because when I entered 2022, I had a little temper tantrum.
What? You had a temper tantrum?
I did, and it was pretty juicy.
Ooh.
I was at my house by myself and I was talking to God and I said, let me get this straight. You're the master of the universe. You can create solar systems within solar systems, time loops within time loops. And there's not one man walking earth that I could have a cup of coffee with. I actually said that to God. And then I said, but please don't strike me with a bolt of lightning. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. But what I was doing was speaking out to the universe that I was ready for companionship. And then ironically, a gentleman that I had known 2 years before called out of the blue to say hello. That turned into a weekend for the NFL draft last year. And next thing I know, I had an engagement ring. So, and I'm that kind of girl. Hi. So anyway, now I'm a married woman. And ironically, I left my rings at home today. I did, crazy girl that I am. Anyway, yes. So I think that came out of intention. But I think that's also true for your career. And it's true for your relationships. If you want to heal your relationships, heal your relationships. And sometimes, you can sit around and try to be right about everything, or you can try to get with the program and take the higher road and be the classier person and, throw in the towel and make peace, be happy. So your intentions are whatever your goals are. Set your specific goals. So here's something that I wrote. Like, people think that it has to be something big. They say, I want to read 4 books a month. Well, none of us are going to do that, but read a book a month. And then people will say, well, I'm going to go on this big diet. You don't have to go on a big diet. If you can just cut back on what you're eating, just eat a little bit less of what you're eating. That's going to make a difference over time. Or people say, I'm going to get out and walk every day for an hour. No, you're not. If you walked 15 minutes one direction, 15 minutes back in another direction,
call it good.
That's 30 minutes, call it good. Drink more water. Or people say, oh, I'm going to pray and meditate. I'm going to do more yoga. Just do it. It doesn't have to be some grand, fabulous plan. Just get up in the morning 5 minutes earlier and do whatever it is you need to do. It's like me and the clutter thing. I'm happy to report, after talking about it numerous times on this show, I finally got around to cleaning out part of that garage.
Oh.
With the help of my husband, who was he was still a fiance at that point. And I just said
husband.
I know my husband. And then it's beautiful. I said to him, I need help. I can't get motivated to do it. So we went out in the garage one day, and the two of us did more in 2 hours than I would have done in 2 weeks. And so now I've got this big container ready for the shredding company to come get. It's much more organized. Still a lot of work to do to get it the way I want it. But baby steps matter.
So I have to ask you.
Yes.
What did it feel like to do a project in your garage with your new hubby? I mean, it's such a beautiful thing to do something as a couple where you would have, like you said, I really don't feel like doing this, but to say, hey, honey, can you come help me?
No, it was really nice. And you know what the truth of the matter is? You need an objective person. Oh. He had no attachment to all that stuff.
Oh, so that is.
When I said, this is all the stuff that we need to get rid of, he just started putting it in the proper containers. This goes to the Goodwill. This goes to the trash. This goes to the shredder. I think you need help with some of these projects that we're stuck on. Cleaning out closets, cleaning out garage, cleaning up your car, whatever it is.
Cleaning your room.
Cleaning your room. Sometimes I think you need help. But it is nice to have a partner in crime. It is nice to say to someone, hey, if we got a little time this weekend, I'd like to clean the other side of the garage.
It's like making my heart pitter-patter.
I know, it is pitter-patter.
Just watching you.
I know, it's lovely. My husband. It's beautiful.
I'm in awe. Okay,
I'm just the kind of girl I need to be married. I'm old school. I'm cut from that cloth. Some people don't need it, but it works for me.
That's good. I mean, that's a good thing. I was looking up on intention. Okay, I was trying to be prepared for you.
Yes.
And it was sent, and they were saying, like you had said, it doesn't need to be something like huge. No. It could be as simple as today, I commit myself to getting out of debt. That's a big thing. But what if you said, today, I am going to make my coffee at home and I'm not going to go spend the money, or I needed to save money. So when I was gone this weekend, I went to a thrift store and I found some Steve Madden shoes, which you can see.
Steve Madden.
They were like $7.
Okay, so here's the thing about the coffee, because we all go through that, because, a good coffee now is $5 or $6 a cup. But here's the deal. If you drink like that 4 times a week,
that could add up to a lot of moolah.
You don't have to give up going to get your coffee. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody make the coffee, but just do it once or twice a week. You don't have to cut it out entirely, because when we cut it out entirely, then it feels like punishment. And now it's like, okay, now I got to drink this coffee at home and I can never go to my favorite coffee shop again.
You're right. You have to
you
have
gotta
that balance.
every now and then, to keep the universe going, to help these small businesses. That's the way I justify it. I'm supporting local business. Instead of going 5 times a week, I go twice a week. But it supports them and it keeps me in balance. And then you get to leave a little tip for someone and it works out for everybody.
But it also says set your intention as early in the morning as possible.
Well, yeah.
Do you do it first thing?
So this is why so many of my friends work out, right? They literally get out of bed and they go swimming or they do their workout. Because if you don't make it a priority, it'll get lost in your day. So for people who can do it after work, the kind of work I do, that I'm not always in control of those late hours. So ideally, praying, loving on people, writing handwritten notes, whatever it is you want to do, ideally for me, that's best before I go to work. So I've made sending out all my little love messages a priority. I've made handwritten notes to whomever I'm mailing them to a priority. Once you get to work, your day doesn't really belong to you. So
it seems like it gets taken over.
It'll get lost. So ideally, you want to do whatever it is you're going to do first thing. Make yourself a priority. Look in the mirror and make yourself a priority. Tell yourself that you love you. Why would anybody else love you if you don't love you? Look in the mirror and just say, I love myself. I mean, think about that. We want other people to love us, but many of us don't love ourselves. Love yourself. And look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am worthy. I do matter. I can contribute. Do your own affirmations in the mirror.
Yeah.
I think so.
No, I agree. And I think a real simple one is smile.
Wow, is that important?
I'm serious. I feel like...
Don't you feel good when a stranger looks at you and just smile? Doesn't it feel nice? Like, wow.
I love it when I open it. I'm going into a grocery store or any store, or I'm leaving it and I see somebody almost the door and I stop and I go, take your time. And they're like, what? Yeah. You don't have to. I'm like, no, I don't close the door.
But that little bit of courtesy is a blessing to them and to you. It feels good to be nice to other people. And it does feel good to smile. And we forget it. We live in a world where we've got information coming at us so fast. Sometimes it feels like we don't have anything to be happy about. But I got news for you. No matter what your circumstances are, you got something to be grateful for. You have something to be happy about. We should smile. That's a good lesson. And we're actually all cuter when we smile.
Oh,
Men are more handsome, women are cuter. It just looks good.
Otherwise, you have a frown. I used to get in trouble for frowning when I was a kid. Stop frowning. Yeah. Or no, you would squint. What was it? Squinting. I would squint and they would say, don't squint. You're going to get wrinkles.
Like a grandmother used to say, stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. So
or whatever.
We should smile.
There are all those things that...
And it's free and it's easy. What does it cost us to smile or be nice to someone?
It doesn't cost you a penny.
How about speaking to a stranger if you really want to see an odd reaction? People look at you like, what? Like, hello, how are you today?
Georgia, I got to tell you, she will be traveling and I'll go, hey, that looks like a cute couple. That looks like a cute person. They look like, and I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Are you new here? And Georgia's like, here she goes. But I think it's really cool because I think people aren't expecting a stranger, but you do it in a nice way. Like I don't just go up and go, boo, hello. I'm like, excuse me. I just wanted to say you guys look so adorable together. Or, oh, I just love your jacket.
But how about when you smile at someone or say something nice? That may be the only smile they got that day. That might be the only nice thing said to them that day.
No,
so I think it's important that we show kindness and love that way. It's very cool.
So when you first wake up, what is your first intention? Do you have like a ritual? Is it always the same? Do you change it?
Okay, so this is going to sound corny and it's probably a little old school, but for me, the first thing I do when I open my eyes is I thank God for today's life. Yeah. It's like, thank you, God.
Thank you.
So I get another day to make a difference. I get another day to love on people. I get another day to just be cognizant of my contribution to mankind. So my first ritual is just to be grateful when I open my eyes. Okay. Because there's a lot of people who were here yesterday. They're not here today. Yeah. So I want to be grateful. And then it's kind of like a sleepy stumble. or to wake up, and it's a protein shake first. I need nourishment. And then I kind of want to take in a little news just to have a sense of what's going on in the world. And I sit there and fire off all my little love notes to people.
I like it. Well, we're going to...
At least 3 to 5 a day.
Okay, well, it's time for another break. We will continue the conversation. It's Deb and Yvonne. We'll be right back.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
You know that's what she said. Come on, let's have some fun with About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back to City Talk. I'm About Town Deb, Debbie McCarthy with Yvonne Murphy.
You're so precious. Thank you for having me in your life.
You are the precious one.
No.
She honestly, she's being honest. She does send beautiful little text messages. And I'm going to give a shout out to Deb Hall in Las Vegas. I was there for some work stuff, and she saw that I was like struggling with my cough and different things. And it's probably been a month, and every single day she has sent me a message.
It's important.
I'm like, wow. And now I'm thinking, do I need to beat her to give her the message first? But they're just simple ones like, today's a new day, or I hope you're feeling good, little messages. And it's kind of every time I see her name, it reminds me of the conversation that we had. And she kept telling me, just keep chugging forward, Deb, keep chugging forward. And it's just crazy. I mean,
people often say to me, but Yvonne, you have a lot of friends, but in order to have friends, you got to be a friend. And so we're looking for people to give us something that we're not giving to the universe. So if you want to receive love and support and encouragement from other people, the best way to get it is to start passing it out to other people yourself.
Okay. So
it'll loop back to you.
Well, we're going to do another quote because I love doing quotes.
Yes, you do.
So sometime, or maybe I already said this, if I did, you're hearing it again. Sometimes the hardest part of the journey is believing you're worth the trip.
Yeah.
Glenn Beck.
You know what? Our lives are just so short. I mean, I was thinking the other day, I remember when I was 24, I thought I would, that song Fame, I'm going to live forever.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I thought I'd be 24 forever. And then one day you woke up and you were 34 and you go, ooh, how'd that happen? But I still got time. I'm still Sassy Soul Sister number 1, right?
Yeah.
And then, you turn 44 and you start thinking, now, what's this retirement thing they're talking about? Like something about a 401k that you're supposed to put the money into. I'm like, ooh, I might have missed a couple of them payments. Right. And then one day you look up and you're 54 and you're going, wow, like I'm a half a century plus. When did that happen? And if you're lucky, one day you wake up and you're 64 and you're going, what in the Sam tarnation is happening here? You start looking at your own birth certificate saying, is this possible? Right? Mm-hmm. So the time goes by really, really quick, but we get to engineer our lives. We really get to be the author of our story. You get to tell your narrative, and you get to do that in words, and you get to do that in deeds. And nobody's going to, like I say this all the time, nobody's going to give you permission. And I remember when I told a dear friend that I was contemplating marriage, and I said, I'm not looking for approval and I'm not asking for permission.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, no, at this age, I'm not asking for approval. I'm just telling you what's a fact. This is what I'm going to do. So I think we need to just take ownership of our lives and just be about the business of creating what we want. So a lot of people will say, okay, well, how do you do that? Well, I've had an interesting life and it's given me a lot of experiences, but along the way, I've had some coaches. And I've had some mentors and I've had some guides. And I think sometimes you just need to seek out a trusted confidant. You cannot heal in your life what you won't acknowledge. Until you're willing to tell the truth about it, there's no possibility you can turn any situation around. If you're in debt, for example, as long as you think you're not in debt and you keep spending and you keep charging and you just don't want to deal with it, then you're going to be in debt. And that's okay. But just be clear that it's a choice. You created it. The way you get out of it is people think, oh my God, I've got 3 credit cards and they're all maxed out. Well, you don't have to pay all 3 off at once. Just get rid of one of them. Don't pay the minimum payment. Try to pay $10 extra, $20 extra, $100 extra. Do what you have to do, but you got to own it. Whatever it is, your body, your relationships, you got to own it. And as long as it's somebody else's fault, you've given away all your power. So stop saying I'm single because my boyfriend dumped me. You're giving that situation all the power. How about you're single because you broke up with someone and you've taken the time to think about what you really want and who you really want, and now you're going to go on a different path to find it. But as long as you're saying it's my parents' fault, it's my boyfriend's fault, it's my ex-husband's fault, it's the teacher, it's the job. If it's everybody else's fault, you're giving away all your power, and you just take ownership of it and own it, and now you get to be in control. So that's the way I see it.
Well, that's a very good way to see it, but it is hard sometimes.
It is.
Because sometimes we get in the same rut of, there's another quote. I got to stop cutting myself off. I do that. I listen to my podcast and I'm like, I say a sentence and I don't finish it. I don't know. That happens a lot.
Okay, but that's why you need honest friends.
I know, but I realized it. And I'm like, I just noticed it. So
you need to have people in your life who love you enough to tell you the truth.
Yeah. So I need to work on that, and I will work on it. And now I'm distracted. So you probably need to talk.
Okay. So we can hold each other accountable. Yeah. I happen to have two people in my life, powerful ladies, and they tell me the truth. My pity party, they don't want to hear it. You need to own that, Yvonne. You created it. You have the power to straighten it out. It can't be somebody else's fault all the time, because the common denominator is you. All this drama you're talking about, you're the common denominator in your story of drama. So, you got to have people in your life who love you enough to say when enough is enough. And you've got to be, in our case, woman enough to take it. And it's not intended to hurt you. It's intended to guide you in such a way that you can step into your own greatness. So if you just got, my dad told me something I'll never forget. If you're hanging out with people and you're the smartest person in that group, you're hanging out with the wrong group.
I've heard that.
You need to step up your game. So I tend to be attracted to people who are smarter, who are more financially stable, who are light years down the road, because then I get to learn from them. I'm okay being the student. I don't have to make mistakes because I'm watching these other successful people, whatever it is, live their lives. If you're the smartest person in your circle, then what are you doing? Well, how does that really benefit you?
Well, you're not able to grow.
You're not able to grow. Exactly. So growth comes out of being willing to be the student. And that's about everything. That's your faith. That's your finances. That's your relationships. I tend to like older people. I tend to like the male point of view. I was raised with 3 older brothers and I'm a daddy's girl. Oh. So I tend to be very inclined to the male point of view. So I have good male friends and they just tell you the truth. And I ask them, what don't you like about your relationship? What are the things that bother you? And you get to benefit from that wisdom. And so you don't make those mistakes in your relationship. So I think I'm a better wife because I'm actually very male influenced. My male friends tell me what makes them happy and what doesn't make them happy. They like coming home to a clean house. They like a home cooked meal. They like conversation. They like being appreciated. They like it when we say thank you and not take them for granted. So if you don't have the ear to hear that, and you're just walking around in some TV reality that you're going to surround yourself with all women. And then, for example, last year, 2 of my dearest friends divorced, and I purposely stayed away from both of them because it seemed like a hypocrisy if I'm sitting there listening to all that chatter about their unhappiness and their bitterness while I'm trying to create love on this side of the scale. So I backed off of both of those friendships because I realized that I could either be invested in their drama or invested in my life.
That's interesting.
So you can't sit around listening to a bunch of people talking about how they hate men and then wonder why you don't have a man. You don't have a man because you're sitting there listening to your girlfriends talk about how they hate men. You got to make choices in your life. So I think I created my marriage because I immediately recognized when they both announced they were getting divorced, okay, this is not healthy for me to hear what your husband did this and your husband did that. And, he's a low down son of a gun and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you're going to speak bad about men, you're not going to attract a man. You got to think about where you spend your time and you got to think about what you listen to and what you put in your head. And if you're going to spend your days listening to your friends talk about how they hate relationships and how they're never going to find love, you're probably not going to find it either because like attracts like.
Very true.
Right?
Yes.
You hang out with the people that, support your drama. No.
But that does seem to happen a lot.
It does.
You are who you're
you are who you associate with.
So if you're with a group of friends and it's always drama, right. You're in that drama.
And you become drama. And that's not attractive.
So sometimes you need to just step out and just.
And I'm not saying men are angels, but the one thing I know about my 3 brothers, and the one thing I know about my dad and all my male friends, men don't like drama. They're fixers. They want to provide and protect, and they don't want you dumping things on them that they can't do anything about. So I just started looking at my immediate friendship circle and thought, okay, I'm going to make a conscious decision here. I'm going to do something for me. I'm going to step away from their drama. I'm going to focus on creating a good relationship. And, they're both divorced now, and I'm happily married. So, you get to make a choice. There's consequences to your choices. And the consequence to the choice I made is I focused on my relationship. I ended up with an engagement ring and a husband. They focused on destroying their lives, and they did it successfully. They're both divorced and both regretting it. Regretting it. So if we want a man in our life, we got to start thinking positive about men and stop comparing them to your other relationships. Every man is not your ex-boyfriend. Get that out of your head. Every man is not a cheater. Every man is not a liar. And by the way, who do we think they're lying and cheating with? Other women. So we're not innocent in all of this either. So, you just got to make choices. And I make a choice that my life is a priority. I can't give happiness if I'm not happy. I can't be a good friend if I'm not being a good friend. So
all very wise words.
I don't know,
my friend.
I think so.
I think we all need to sit down and have that friend in our corner who can speak those wise words and tell us sometimes, you're in a funk right now. Get out.
Well, if you're hanging out with your girlfriends all the time, when would a man fit into that? That's the other thing. Where does he fit into your life? You have to make room for people. You have to make room for your female friends. If you're busy all the time, and you don't have time for people,
you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose them because people aren't going to sit around waiting for you to make room for them. So you have to make room for your family. You have to make room for your friends. You have to make room for the male perspective. You have to make room. And the one thing I figured out early in our dating is there was no room for him in my life. My life was all about me. My house is all about me. My car is all about me. All 5 closets all about me. Well, you know what? You're probably not going to have a pair of male boots in your closet, or a couple pair of his jeans, or a couple pair of his sweaters, if there's nowhere to hang it. The first thing I had to do was clean out a closet. That was what I metaphorically did to make room for him in my life. I emptied out a closet. So guess what's in that closet now?
His clothes.
His sweaters, his jackets, his pants.
That just has to feel
Oh, yeah, it's a good thing. I love the male clothing situation. And he has his own medicine cabinet with man stuff in it. Their cologne and stuff. And it feels good. So that's how you get that. You have to make room for it.
I love it. Well, we're going to make room for another break, and we'll be right back for the final segment.
Now more than ever, family matters, and Surratt Law Practice has your family in mind. Kimberly Surratt and her team have been helping maintain healthy families through their holistic approach to adoption and surrogacy, child custody, estate planning, and more for over 13 years. Your family law concerns are in caring hands with Surratt Law. Schedule your private consultation with a compassionate Surratt Law Practice team member today by calling 775-636-8200 or visiting lawyersforfamilies.com. Surratt Law, where family matters.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
Ready to help from her toes to her head. Just give her a shout. Call About Town Deb.
My town, your town, or any town, this is About Town Deb presents City Talk. Now, back to the show.
We are back.
We're back in our last
segment. It goes by
time
so
goes
fast.
by so quickly with you.
It does. It goes by quickly with you because I love all of her wisdom that she's sharing with all of us. Sometimes we need to sit and listen. Listen is a really good gift, and I'm trying to get better at listening. I'm going to give a shout out to Wanda Gaines because you were talking about mentors and coaches. She is a mentor and coach, and this is her Camo Queen sweatshirt. So anyway.
Coaches and mentors are nice because they hold us accountable.
Yeah.
That's the nice person who says, did you walk this week?
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
Accomplish whatever the task is. What can I do to help you? It's not about identifying it to make you bad for not doing it.
Loved how you said that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to accept the help. I have people will say like Georgia again, or my neighbor Misty, who always if I need a job done, Misty's like, okay, she came in there and she goes, you need to work on this mess. And when should I come over and help you unclutter?
So you should allow that help, because that's a love language.
And I do.
People who want to help you, that's the way they love on you. So when they say, do you need any help? You need to be honest and say, I do. And you need to let them help you, because that's how they love on people. They might not have money to give you. They might not have contact to give you. Maybe they can't help you find a job. But whatever it is they can help you do, that's their love language to you. You have to let people do that. You have to let people in. We're not on an island. We're all in this together. You have to let people help you.
I'm getting better at that. I am getting better at that.
We
it's
need
okay
to say, so when people say you look good today, you just need to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And people say, can I help you? Yes. I don't even know what I need help with, but yes. Can you help me? Would you help me? Yes, I say yes. And let them help you.
I agree.
Two heads are better than one.
I agree with having I would rather go clean out somebody else's garage. I'd rather do their dishes. I would rather go do anybody's dishes but my own.
Yes, of course. But that's okay.
But I mean, like if I go to an event or a family dinner, I'm the first. I love to clear the table.
So let me tell you where I ask for help a lot in the workplace, because technology is so advanced. And all the people I work with at Renown are super, super techie, right? And I don't have any problem screaming out, somebody, I need help. I don't know how to get on the G drive. I don't know how to move it from this point to that point. My brain just doesn't get it. But they love helping me. And then they have problems and they go, Yvonne, can I talk to you about something? I'm having a problem. What do you think about this? Everybody's got their own love language. We all have a different collateral. So let people love on you and let people help you.
I love that. And we also we were talking about, journaling, setting goals, setting intentions. And I think I've only journaled once or twice, because I was at a retreat and they made us journal. And then we would sit quiet with it. And then if we wanted to share it, we would, or we didn't. So I'm not very good at it. I would have to be at a retreat and somebody would have to say, Deb, you're going to journal, or I probably wouldn't journal.
So I'm conflicted about it, because in one sense, some of the greatest books written were written because someone journaled and all those notes were kept. And then that's how a book was created.
Ooh.
But the other side of the coin is I've read back through some of my older journals. I would never want my family members or loved ones to know that in 1983, I was in this devastating pain. I mean, so much has happened in my life since 1983. So for me, at some point, it becomes very healing to rip those journals up and shred that paper.
I was going to say,
I don't want my son and granddaughter, for example, or in this case now my husband, to read something I wrote 3 years ago when I was still a widow and still in a lot of pain over losing a spouse. All that sadness is not relevant anymore. That's been healed in my life. So why do you need to keep the collateral material connected to that? So I do think it's healthy to journal more as a guide, and maybe for some of us quarterly, at least once a year.
Go back and see
I
how
like
far
to
you've
think,
come?
well, yeah, I think you go back and see where you've come, but ideally you've set some goals to whatever you're journaling about. And as you're moving through those things and accomplishing them, I mean, if you're trying to lose weight and you're at 220 pounds and you're a female and you get down to 179, I don't think you need to keep reading about when you were 220. You've shed that. You've moved on. You're moving out. So it's a personal thing. And it depends on what you're writing in those journals. You got to be careful about pouring out your soul and then having your spouse or your sister or your brother or someone read that and go, my God, I had no idea this was, I just don't know. It's a catch-22. I do think we should have written goals. And I like to do a vision board at the beginning of the year, and I like to do it in quarters. So I buy a poster board from Michael's. I make 4, draw a line down the center, draw a line across the middle, in each season, spring, summer, fall, winter, what I want to accomplish. But when that year is over, that vision board, I trash it. And what was on last year's vision board is my focus was on finding my soulmate. Now I'm on a whole nother vision board. So I'm in the process of creating one now. And I think everybody could use a vision board.
So I have a vision board and it's very old right now. And I look at it and go, this doesn't work for me right now. And I keep thinking when I walk by it, I need to take it down.
Take it down and make a fresh board. because the truth of the matter is all of our lives have changed a lot in the last year. And if you've made a vision board, if I'm making a vision board that says I'm going to be a billionaire by June 1, that's, I mean, you know, short of hitting a lottery, that's not likely to happen. I think our vision boards have to be realistic. Maybe 10 pounds per quarter. If you need to lose 40 pounds, instead of looking at the 40, make it 10 pounds per quarter.
Yeah.
If one of the things on my vision board is that I'd like to add 3 power friends to my circle, where I actively am seeking, recruiting new friends. It's okay to grow the circle. Because remember, I lost 2 that got divorced, so I need to replace those 2. So finding friends is on the vision board. Being healthier is on the vision board. I'm not talking healthy like an athlete. I'm talking senior healthy.
Right.
I'm talking just able to move freely and so on and so forth. You don't have to get rid of all your debt. Just get rid of some of your debt. I put a trip or 2 on there. Get in the habit of doing something, reading a book a month. Do something nice for other people. But all these are things that can go up on your vision board. So instead of tackling your life from the perspective of the totality of your life, break that up into bite-sized pieces. So for me, it's quarterly. January, February, March. So the reason it's a big deal to me that January is over, we're already 1/3 of the way through the first quarter. This is a little scary that it's already February. And I'm like, ooh, what happened to January? Well, we know what happened to January. We were all shoveling snow.
Yes, that is true.
We had a horrific holiday season. And in Reno, Nevada, we had a lot of snow and more than one snowstorm. So January kind of got away from us, but the clock is ticking. Now we only have 11 months to go. So break it into pieces. I think do it into quarters. And you can journal, but I prefer a vision board to keep me focused. And by the way, it's on the back of a door. Because you don't want your vision board to be where everybody comes in your house is reading your vision board.
Mine's in my bathroom, so only I can see it. And it's on a wall that
I put mine behind a door. And then I just look at it and say, how am I doing? Check it off, check it off. I like it when you can check it off. Done that. Clean out the garage,
so,
done that.
So clean out the garage could be on a vision board?
Yes, of course. That's a goal. Something you need to get done.
I think that I have always
Spring cleaning. Think of it that way.
See, I thought vision boards were all about like, this is what I want to manifest. And this is what I want to do.
Well, you can put that on there. I mean, there's a picture of a new car on there. It's a little small SUV on there. There's a picture of a place I want to go for vacation. I want to do the Jack Daniel's distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Oh,
it's a really doable, affordable trip. So I just want to go down and see. It's also a historical trip because it's like America all the way back to the Civil War kind of thing. But you can put little trips on there, cars on there, finances on there. You can put your health on there. You can put all kinds of things on it. But it's just a little map, a guide to get you through the year.
No, I totally like this new version of it because I honestly was putting like totally things that were way out of reach because, you know, you go in these magazines, you find these photos and you put them up and you want this and that. I think I like the quarterly and to say my vision is I would love to get more organized in my closet.
I'd like to be a little more techie.
A little bit more techie, or I'd like to take a class in some more Instagram classes. I mean, that would be more realistic for me.
Yes, put that on your vision board.
This huge thing. So
a new hairdo, a change in, you know, I love wearing black, but a little bit of color. I'm going to wear a little more color this year, or a scarf, or you don't have to get rid of your black wardrobe. Just get a scarf or a couple of little tops that are not black. I mean, baby steps.
So since we're almost at the end of the show, I did look up a few, and here's one. It says, and we've been being persistent, make daily progress a pattern, a norm, a constant in your life, and you will advance beyond your wildest dreams. Faithfully journaling, which I'm not going to commit to that because I know I won't, but I could commit to reading a little bit more. I really feel like I used to read every morning, like it was like a journal, but I would read the thought for me to think, and I would read every morning, and I always felt so accomplished that I took the time to have that 1 minute where I just sat and I read and I meditated and I thought about it and I went, okay, I got one thing done.
If you're going to do a journal, let me suggest you do a gratitude journal. If you just wrote down one thing, people, one thing, one person, a day, just one thing that happened to me today, just one thing. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful I have a job. I'm grateful I have a faith. You could just be grateful for any one thing. So I want to end this by saying yesterday I was grateful for one thing. I had a colleague that I hadn't seen in a while. I invited her to the office. She came. We sat down and had a lovely conversation. It made my day. I took the initiative to reach out. She responded positively, and it set the course for my yesterday. So I'm grateful.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be great. I'm grateful for you, Yvonne, and for being here. We're at the end of the show. So the last quote, not quote, but what I read was monitor your self-talk. Be your own BFF, your own cheerleader, coach, and biggest fan. And I think we all need to look within and say, hey, I love you.
Speak love into your own life. Speak happiness and health into your own life.
So we're going to go with speak love and happiness to your own life. As together we're one heart. It's about time.
We are
Deb
one heart.
And Yvonne Murphy, and
we love each other.
Next show.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.